the history of an old church. In the heart of the Congo Basin, where the dense jungle seemed to stretch endlessly, there was a small village called Mwanzi. The villagers lived simple lives, bound by tradition and faith. For generations, they had worshipped the spirits of the land, honoring the ancestors who protected them. But one day, a new presence arrived, a church with gleaming white walls and a towering steeple that pierced the sky like a dagger. The church was built by a group of missionaries who called themselves the Order of the Sacred Light. They claimed to bring salvation and prosperity to the village, promising to rid Mwanzi of its primitive ways. At first, the villagers were skeptical, but the missionaries were persuasive. They offered food, medicine, and even money to those who attended their services. Slowly, the people of Mwanzi began to abandon their old ways, drawn in by the promises of a better life. But not everyone was convinced. An old woman named Mama Nokosi, the village's spiritual healer, warned the others. "These men do not come in peace," she said. "Their words are sweet, but their hearts are dark. They seek to take what is ours." Her warnings fell on deaf ears. The villagers were too entranced by the gifts and the allure of the new faith. Mama Nokosi was labeled a witch, and the missionaries encouraged the villagers to shun her. She retreated to the edge of the jungle, where she watched and waited. As the weeks passed, strange things began to happen in Mwanzi. People who spoke out against the church disappeared in the night. Children fell ill with mysterious ailments that no medicine could cure. The once vibrant village grew quiet, its people hollow-eyed and fearful. The missionaries, however, seemed to thrive. Their leader, a man named Father Ezekiel, grew more powerful with each passing day. One night, a young man named Kofi decided to investigate. His sister had been one of the first to disappear, and he was determined to find out what had happened to her. He waited until the village was asleep, then crept to the church. Inside, he found a hidden door beneath the altar. It led to a dark, winding staircase that descended deep into the earth. At the bottom, Kofi discovered a horrifying sight. The missionaries had built a vast underground chamber, filled with strange symbols and altars stained with blood. Chained to the walls were the missing villagers, their eyes wide with terror. Father Ezekiel stood at the center of the room, chanting in a language Kofi did not understand. As Kofi watched, one of the villagers was brought forward and sacrificed, their blood collected in a golden chalice. Kofi stumbled back in horror, but his foot caught on a loose stone and he fell. The sound alerted the missionaries, and they turned toward him. Father Ezekiel's eyes glowed with an unnatural light as he smiled. "Ah, another soul for our master," he said. Kofi stumbled back in horror, but his foot caught on a loose stone and he fell. The sound alerted the missionaries, and they turned toward him. Father Ezekiel's eyes glowed with an unnatural light as he smiled. "Ah, another soul for our master," he said. Kofi ran, his heart pounding as he fled through the tunnels. He burst out of the church and into the jungle, where he found Mama Nokosi waiting for him. She had seen the darkness in her visions and had come to help. Together, they rallied the remaining villagers, those who had not yet fallen under the church's spell. Mama Nokosi performed ancient rituals, calling on the spirits of the land to aid them. The jungle itself seemed to come alive, the trees creaking and groaning as they moved to block the church's doors. The villagers stormed the church, armed with machetes and torches. The missionaries fought back, their eyes glowing with the same unnatural light as Father Ezekiel's. But the spirits of the land were stronger. The earth shook and the church's walls crumbled, burying the evil within. When the dust settled, the villagers stood in silence, staring at the ruins of the church. Mama Nokosi placed a hand on Kofi's shoulder. "The darkness is gone," she said, "but we must never forget what happened here. We must honor the old ways, for they are what protect us." From that day on, the people of Mwanzi returned to their traditions, vowing never to let such evil take root again. The jungle reclaimed the land where the church had stood, and the spirits of the ancestors watched over the village once more. But in the darkest corners of the continent, whispers of other churches like the one in Mwanzi began to spread. And somewhere, deep in the shadows, Father Ezekiel's master waited, biding its time.